Guess it helps if I take the flap off the face of my camera. Hello, my friends. Deere Rosa here in the Rosa Stringworks Man Cave. And I failed. Everything I've done today has just pretty much been a failure. Well, not really. But I don't know. The first thing I did worked out pretty good. But from that point on, it just went down the hill. And I don't have a single video ready for you because they wouldn't complete. The computer says, no, I'm taking my time. And it normally is, this thing's a really pretty fast computer, but not today. So I don't even have a video really to show you, I don't think. Well, actually, I do have a piece of one. I had okay, here's the whole deal. I was cutting shingles again this morning. I cut down cedar trees. And I filmed all of that, filmed cutting down the trees, filmed loading the logs, filmed cutting the logs on the sawmill, and then showed you the stack at the end. And yeah, well, it just won't render. It might be done before we're finished here, and if it is, maybe I'll show it to you. Then I also had several clips to show on Sue's lawn tractor because I got another real significant problem there too. And maybe a shortcut that I took might have cost me over $1,000 possibly. But then again, it may have nothing to do with that. I mean, there's almost no way to know. It's bad when you can't show what you're trying to talk about because I don't have any video to show you because it wouldn't finish. Anyway, so here's the story. Sue, the other day the lawn tractor was leaking oil, and Sue didn't even realize that, but it leaked oil all the way down the driveway. So I got underneath it and found where the problem was. Well, it was a hydraulic hose had rubbed in two. So I went to town, got that, it's over $100, put a new hose on it, filled it back up with oil. She took off cutting the grass, and everything was really good, she said, for about 2 hours. And then it just went in the toilet. It wouldn't go forwards. And so then I, checked it out yesterday evening and tried to figure out what the problem was. I figured it was maybe just low on oil again. Maybe it had another leak that I wasn't aware of. Well, not so much. I mean, it was a little low, so I filled it up to where it should be, and that didn't help. So then I got to looking around to see what kind of oil I really supposed to put in this thing, because that's the shortcut. I kind of just said, well, hydraulic oil. I'll throw some in there, Well, it says it wants Mobil 1 or Quaker State 5W50. So regular engine oil, basically, which is kind of unusual. And in the book, it says if you don't use that oil, you'll damage your motor or something like that, Well, then I find out later. So then I go to town this morning. This is after I cut all the shingles and do all that. So after I do all that, I go to town and I get some Mobil 1 5W40. I come back here. I drain out all the oil out of the machine, clean the filter out because the filter cost $50 and it was brand new. And I'm noticing as I'm pouring out this brand new filter, there's little tiny flecks of metal. You know what that looks like metal flake. It's little tiny, really small, I could tell there's metal coming out. I could also tell there was little tiny bits of rubber probably, or black stuff, which is probably an O-ring or something. So that tells me for sure one of the motors, or it's either, it's got two hydraulic motors on each side, and it's got two hydraulic pumps on each side. The pumps feed the motors to drive the zero-turn wheels. So either, and it's really bad on the left side. It's the right side seems to function, but the the left side doesn't function. So it's either that the pump went out on the left side or the motor went out on the left side. And I don't know which. I have no idea, and I don't know if I know how to check that. If anybody's good with hydraulics and knows the difference between the pump and the motor, I mean, I know which one's which. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I know which one's the pump and I know which one's the motor. But if you know how to distinguish between the two in terms of deciding which one is the problem, or they might both be the problem, and in fact, all four of them might be a problem because it's now over 20 years old. You know, it's like 20. She said it was a 2004. I thought it was a 2001. I don't know. Regardless, it's over 20 years old. And it's had a hard life. I mean, she cuts the grass every 4 or 5 days, you know. So it's been used more than your average lawn tractor. But it's such a good quality piece of equipment, I don't want to replace it. I mean, like, the frame's not going to wear out. It's such a simple design. I mean, really, here's the design of the tractor. And I can tell you in almost one sentence. It's got 2 pumps and 2 motors and an engine. That's all it's got. There's nothing else to it. The motor drives the belt that turns the blades. It's that simple. That's what I like about it. The frame's extra heavy duty. It's like 1/4 inch thick steel everywhere. It's heavy made. There's nothing to wear out other than the 2 motors and the 2 pumps, you know. So if I put a new pump on it or a new motor on it or both, then it's fixed. You know, it's like brand new again because there's nothing else wrong with the thing. I know people think you need to replace it. No, you don't. If there's nothing else wrong with it, why replace it? I don't know. Anyway, it is aggravating because, I mean, it's just at that age where, you know, stuff's going to go wrong, you know. So now here's the complicating factor that I didn't know until I'm already, you know, frustrated. Now she says, well, that left side's been giving me trouble for a long time. What did you tell me that? A long time. So I don't think the oil I put in it had anything to do with it. That's what I think. Now, here's another, and I know some of you will come up with a story immediately. Yeah, you have to put the right oil in there because if you don't, it'll do this and it'll do that. Well, let me explain this about that. People have told me that on my Bobcat for 30 years. And they said, you can't run that, you know, AW32 in there. You need to run AW46. Well, the AW32 is cheaper, number one. Number two, it's clear. And I like clear oil like that. You can tell if there's a problem with that clear oil. Where that dark oil, you can't always tell. I just like that oil. It works really good. Never had a problem. I've been running it for 30 years. I ain't never had a problem. Now, when I did have a problem a while back, people were blaming it on that oil because I wasn't using their oil. And I said, it ain't the oil, guys. And sure enough, it wasn't. It was completely unrelated. So I don't think the oil that I put in there for that 2-hour run she did caused the problem. I think she basically said the problem to me. It was going out. This left side has been giving her trouble for a while. Now, granted, it's a possibility that the thinner oil that I put in there, because I didn't know it took 5W50 till I got the book out. So maybe the thinner oil just, you know, put the final nail in the coffin. I don't know. But if anybody does know a lot about hydraulics and you can give me any insight on that or a suggestion or something to check or whatever, that would be good. So here's our alternative for the moment. Well, I just spent the last 30 minutes putting this Woods finish more on the John Deere. And there was a bolt or two missing on that to boot, so I fixed that. I serviced this the last time I used it and greased it and oiled it and all that, so it should be decent for using on the yard for now, but that's our only option right now for the yard. I'm going to have to do some serious work to figure out what's wrong with the lawn tractor. Yeah, that's basically what I just told you. And let me just pardon me for a second here. You'll be watching me while I'm looking at a different program. I need to call up this other program to see if the other video's finished. It might be now, since I don't know. Let me do that. Yeah, it is. Okay, it is finished. So let me. I don't even know what you're going to see here when I click on this, but bear with me and I'll switch it to the right video. Well, my friends, the Ferguson was leaking gas out of the float bowl. I got that fixed. My friends, it's 6:30 a.m. June the 10th, and it's actually pretty chilly out here. I almost feel like I need a jacket. It's that cool, but that's why I'm out here, because I got to cut some more cedar. I'd rather do it when it's cool. It won't take me long to be sweating. But you see this muddy mess? Golly, just like everything's got to be complicated. I'm going to try this one. It's not the best. It's got all kinds of little inclusions and knots and things. But I think I can get 2 or 3 links out of this to make decent shingles, maybe. And there's one more here close by that, again, it's not real big, but it's maybe a little better in terms of less inclusions. Anyway, I think I'm going to try to cut both of these down, and all I'm going to do right now is just cut the shingle part out of it. It's just too much of a mess up here to deal with anything else.
You won't find it on a well-traveled highway, not even on a dusty gravel road. And you have to want to be there when you find it, for it's not on any maps I know. Out across the field, through the pasture, climb along a steep and rocky trail. When you cross that little creek in the valley, see that vine-covered church on the hill. That vine-covered church above the valley, where the congregation gathered to pray. Built with their hands from the forest, now stands as a marker for the grave. siding and shingles are tattered. The steeple leans slightly to the right, and though all the windows are shattered, you can still hear them singing at night. The brothers and sisters who worship gather in that holy place still.
There ain't nothing easy about any of that. I don't know how much of that I caught on camera because I was busy. But anyway, I cut a 5-foot piece here, which I can get 3 18-inch pieces out of. That's for shingles. And then I cut an 8.5-foot log here, which it's not very big, but I could at least get a post out of it. You know, like probably a 5x5 post, or at least a 4x4. So it's worth something. And then the rest will just be brush for the critters, kind of like this is piled up here. The brush piles are excellent for the small animals. You might think there's a lot of cover out in there, but really when you go through it, it's pretty much just open ground with little sprouts sticking up. You know, it's just open, really. There's no cover. This is cover. This makes cover, and that's places where baby rabbits can be born. You know, all kinds of little critters will build a nest in a place like that. Even rats and things that I don't want, but you know, they got to have a place to live. I'd rather have them living up here in the woods than down there by my barn. So it works for me.
Though they lie at rest in the valley, beneath that vine-covered church on the hill, that vine-covered church above the valley.
The only flaw in my plan of leaving them this long is I can't pick them up. At least not this one. This thing is, at least I can't pick up this one. This thing is heavy. Oh my gosh. I think I'll back up to it.
Where the congregation gathered to pray, build with their hands from the forehead.
Work smarter, not harder. Yeah. I think in a previous life, I think I was a backhoe. Not really sure. Oh my gosh, that is heavy. All right, well, there's only one more to go get, and it's further away. Well, maybe I could back the thing up at least to those logs. That might be helpful.
Now stands as a marker for the grave.
I don't know if that'll be better or not, because now there's these other logs and things in the way, but at least I'm trying. I may have to improvise, which is kind of what I do on the spur of the moment every day. These are heavier than they look. I thought sure I could pick them up, but I cannot. Being green, that makes them even heavier. Yeah, that's heavy. Now I get the chainsaw and my helmet. Do stuff like this 2 or 3 times a week, and tell me how much you need a gym membership. Oh my gosh. That's way heavier than it looks. Well, time to get this unloaded.
That vine-covered church above the valley, where the congregation gathered to pray, built with their hands from the forest, now stands as a marker for the graves. It still stands as a marker for the grave.
Well, my friends, even though that's a 6x6, that weighs about half as much as it did earlier. I can actually pick that up now and carry it into the shop, which is what I'm going to do. Then I'm going to saw up the other one just like I did there. I'm not going to show that. Well, if you've been keeping score, I made that many shingles out of 3 blocks. And those 3 blocks were a little smaller. They're not as wide. For instance, let me show you. I don't think, I haven't checked it yet. I might be wrong. Yeah, these are about an inch wider. So I've got 6 blocks here and they're bigger. So there you go. We're going to make at least twice this many shingles and probably a little bit more than twice that many because there were some bad spots in one of those shingles or one of those blocks, and I probably missed out on about 6 shingles. So we'll probably get more than double what we got before, which will really put a good dent in the pile I need. That's all I'm going to do for this morning. I'm 70 years old and, you know, it's time to say that's enough. Wouldn't you know, here's a hole. Wouldn't you know, you just can't win. Yeah, it's crazy. Just can't win. That's just a burn mark. The rest of it looks pretty good. Overall, that looks pretty good, but you never know. When you see a hole like that, you never know what could be on the inside. You just never know. Anyway, I've got to go back to working on Sue's lawn tractor now. Yep. And then, you know, like I said, after I got all of that done, by the way, it was chilly, like I said at the beginning of that video. And when I finished sawing those into big blocks there, it was still cold enough outside to see my breath. And I'm out there in a t-shirt. Trust me, I didn't get cold. And after that, then I started monkeying with her lawn tractor. Well, then that's when I went to town, came back, still monkeyed with it for a while. Then I made a video for you guys. Oh my gosh. And then it wouldn't render. Let's see, on the in terms of the comments today, we got Rod Wentler was the first one in there, and Joe Nigan. And then Ronald Todd says, good afternoon from the West Bank of New Jersey. David Tharp says, howdy folks, be careful, your past might someday come back to bite you, like the doctor who crossed a homing pigeon with an alligator. Woohoo! Bill Webb, good afternoon, Jerry and friends. I loved the video of you working on those guitars. Nice to have you back. Well, it's only temporary, and yeah, I don't know. I had a pretty good time working on those. I mean, I didn't feel real bad in my hands or anything at that point in time, but there were moments. But since then, like on Sunday, for instance, you know, they left on Friday. Well, on Sunday, my hands were a wreck. I don't know why, but maybe it's the weather. I don't know. But Sunday, man, I could barely do anything with my hands. David Tharp, the repair video ran smoothly after you reposted it. I was watching it at the same time you took it down. That's why it disappeared and couldn't be found. Also enjoyed Don's 80th birthday jam. Yeah, well, like I said, I was watching it and it jammed on me, so I took it down just because I figured I was going to have to re-edit it. But it fixed itself. I mean, I don't know. It was self-healing in this case. I don't know how it, you know, maybe it was just because it was up so quick trying to watch it. Maybe YouTube hadn't finished doing all their edits and stuff that they do. David Thorpe says, I told a friend that I had a doctor's appointment tomorrow. He said, which doctor? I said, no, medical doctor. I hold to science, not superstition. I knew that one was coming. Let's see. After we went live, David Tharp says, I generally always mean what I say, but I don't always mean to say it out loud. Guilty on that one. Ronald Todd, Dottie gets another hall pass. Uh-oh. Yeah, I hope she's doing okay. Let's see. Wavy Gravy says, after a big argument, the wife yells, "I hate you. Get out." As her husband is leaving, she screams, "I hope you die a slow, painful death." The husband stops and says, "Now you want me to stay?" Okay, I'm not going any further with that one. Let's see. Mary says, you are not the only one YouTuber having trouble with the video uploads. A few other channels have same kind of thing. Yep. Well, I know it does happen from time to time. I kind of think my video editor is my problem. Video Studio, I mean, it's a decent editor, but it's got all kinds of bugs in it. I could, if I could sit down with one of their head honchos, I could fill their page full of bugs that are in that video editor. They would never, I don't know. They ought to put me on a salary and I could fix their program for them. Gino Hitch, hi Jerry and friends. Had cataract surgery on my right eye this morning. Can't see to text hardly. Well, good luck with it, Gino. I hope it works as well as your other one, and you do really well with it. Scott Roberts says, 24 years ago, servicing bridge cranes, the hoist required specific oil, Ford tractor hydraulic oil. The hoist would not work properly with regular hydraulic oil in it. It had special additive. And then he says that AW46 would not work in the crane hoist. Well, I won't doubt that. I'm sure there are certain specific circumstances. But as I said, here I am thinking that the oil probably caused this problem. And come to find out, it's been giving her trouble for a very long time. I think there's a little hint there that there could be a reason why it went out. You got to remember that just before it went out, she ran it out of oil on top of that. And so she's running around dry basically for no tellings how long. She couldn't steer it, and she drove it all the way up the driveway, not being able to really steer it. She drove it backwards and all kinds of things. Unknown to me, I didn't know all that was going on. But before all that, it was giving her trouble on the left side. Well, then the oil leaks out, and now you're driving it without oil. I'm pretty sure there's a reason why it's went out, and I doubt it was the oil, the kind of oil, I mean. Newton Horn, hey Jerry, my Gravely had a broken mounting bracket that misaligned my hydraulic pump. I welded it back, and it fixed my system. Well, I looked at this one this morning, Bo, and I looked at it pretty close. In fact, I took a picture of the label on it because I'm going to see if I can find the label, or see if I can match up that label with another pump and see what it costs. It's old. It might just need two new pumps and 2 new drive motors. That and the engine, that's 99% of this tractor. I mean, the rest of it's the frame, and then you got your deck for your blades. That's all there is to it. I've already replaced all the spindles on the deck. So if I replace those other moving parts, it's a completely new tractor, just with an old frame. And the frame's 1/4-inch steel. It ain't going nowhere. So, I mean, I love the design of it because it's so simple. That's what I really like. Let's see. David Tharp, I just took on a part-time job helping a one-arm man type on a keyboard. The pay is good, but it's a lot of shift work. Let's see. You are messed up, David. Don Nice, Jerry and friends, don't you think Jerry Red Shirt is nice? Well, I hope you like it. let's see. Randy Rogers says, I really enjoyed the guitar repair video as well, except for the guy making all the noise with the guitar in the background. Yeah, there were a few comments on that, but you know what? Nothing like that bothers me. I could care less. When I'm focused on fixing something, that's my focus. You could drop a bomb behind me, and it wouldn't hardly matter. So it didn't bother me at all, Randy. In fact, I enjoyed the background music myself. I know a lot of people, I've had tons of comments over the years that I can't believe you'll work on those instruments with those people watching you. That would drive me crazy. It doesn't bother me at all. I got nothing to hide. I know what I'm doing. It's not like I'm guessing. So why would it bother me? I don't get that. I really don't, why people think that's a big deal. It's not a big deal at all. Scott Roberts, same differential lube issue with Chevy truck, limited slip rear end, has a special additive in it as well. Won't work properly without it. Yeah, I don't doubt it. Let's see. Ronald Todd, Jerry, you might have to rebuild the pumps. Yeah, I know they can be rebuilt. I'm not sure I'm the guy for that, because there's a lot of parts in those suckers when you start taking those things apart. And don't get me wrong, I'm sure I could do it, that part. But, when you start taking that stuff apart, if you don't catch every second of it, sometimes something will spring out on you and you go, oh, where'd that go? And those things are so specific and so picky. If you get the least little thing in the wrong place, good luck with that. Yeah, and there's very few moving parts in those things. You'd think it'd be easy. It's not. It's not easy. So I don't know. I might do it. I might try it, but I got nothing to lose, I guess, because it's bad. Well, why? But the thing is, I still can't really tell which one's bad. Now, I think Preston Johnson or somebody, maybe I skipped him. I'm sorry. He said you might take, sorry, I didn't mean to skip you. But anyway, he says you take the hose off the one side or off the pump and switch it to the other motor or whatever, and then you can kind of tell, is it the pump or is it the motor, And that's a good idea. Like he said, and he also said that the hose may not be long enough, and I think that's my problem. These are actually, all the hoses are very short on this, and they're not going to reach across. So I don't know if there was an easy way to do that. I would do that, because it's a good idea. It's a really good idea, in fact, Preston's. But I'm not sure how I could accomplish it other than physically take it loose and move it over, and that's a lot of work. Let's see. Sidecar Bob, I don't know much about hydraulics, but at the rope factory we use AW32 to lubricate polyester yarn so it wouldn't fray turning through the machines. I didn't know that. My first girlfriend helped her dad to make moonshine. We broke up and she married another, but I still miss her. But I miss her still. Miss her still. I got you. Took me a second there. I think you just tongue twist these things, word twist these things to see if you can screw me up. Because it ain't that hard. You really don't. You shouldn't feel like you're an or that you've accomplished anything when you get me confused. It's not very hard to do. Don Nice, Jerry, we would all enjoy all the jam. We would all enjoy all the jam. Okay. There's Mark. Hello, everyone. Good to see you, Mark. I put your check in the mail yesterday. I don't know if you saw yesterday's video or not, but you should get that. Hopefully, I doubt it you'll get it today because you know how the mail is, but maybe tomorrow for sure. Bo says, went to a restaurant. Waitress said, you want a box for your leftovers? After 3 rounds, she knocked me out. You got to watch it. Some of those little gals are really tough, especially in a diner. Robert Davis. Hey, Jerry, on the hose swap idea, you may need to, may need to keep a couple of test hoses around that are longer so you can do diagnostic work when hydraulics go awry. Yeah, that's great, except for they're super expensive. No matter how you make one, it won't be right for the situation. I mean, seriously, I'm not just saying that as an excuse. It's just that way. There are gazillions of connections on the ends. Some of them are right angles, some of them are straight, some of them are different size. I mean, some of them are compression fitting. There's a million combinations. And I probably have, one of 500,000 combinations on all the different equipment I have, and none of them would swap. None of them. So it's not practical. I mean, it would be practical. I mean, if you just had one machine and you knew that you could have trouble, then it would be practical. But in this case, it's just not practical. It's just not. As another example, like that Chinese excavator, I know I'm in for trouble on that one, on the hydraulics, because the local hydraulics shop doesn't have the fittings that match that thing at all. So I'm going to really be up against it when that oil cooler gets here and all that. Yeah, it's going to be a real nightmare. None of that's easy. There's none of that stuff is easy. And it's really expensive. You can't get a hose anymore for under $100. I mean maybe, but it'd be a real tiny little hose if you did. But any hose I've gone to get has been over $100 every time now. Jack Moon, Jerry, I have designed and worked on hydraulics for years. I would be happy to discuss your problem if we could figure out how to do it in a more private setting. Okay, Jack, well, we could possibly do it with email or with a I can't think of names. There's a piece of software that shows just like this almost. I can't think of what it's called. But anyway, I'll keep that in mind, Jack, and maybe via email or something. If you wanted to send me an email, that way I could get back to you with an email, and we could possibly do something like that. I'm going to just look first and see if I can match up these numbers, and if I can, I may just order new ones and put new ones in. I mean, even if they cost $1,000. The reason is because this thing's 20-some years old. If I could rebuild it like new for a couple $1,000, it's like back then it was a $7,000 tractor. So it wouldn't bother me at all to spend a couple $1,000 on it if I needed to. Don't forget the thumbs up, everybody. Let's see. Okay. Wavy Gravy says she was only a stableman's daughter, but all the horsemen knew her. Horsemen knew her. You guys are sick. Let's see. GNP Old Marine Shop says, hi, Jerry. Have you seen plastic repairs using cut-up pieces mixed with acetone and set aside to melt, then brush on? Pretty cool. Not exactly like that, but I've done a little bit with plastic and acetone. I have melted a few things together like that, especially with bindings even. I mean, I've done it definitely with bindings. I used to use acetone and the bindings, and you could butt them together and stick them together, different things. And in different laminates, put 2 or 3 pieces together. Ronald Tom, FaceTime. No, I don't have FaceTime. I think that's an Apple product, I think. I don't have any Apple stuff myself. Sue does, but I don't. I'm talking about the other one that's a real popular one that goes across to all platforms. I don't know why I can't think of it. I know it. Sidecar Bob, I think you're trying to think of Zoom. Yes, Zoom is the one I was trying to think of. Zoom works on pretty much any platform. not to offend anybody, but me and Apple, we don't get along. You know, I know that lots of people love them. I mean, they're super popular, one of the biggest companies in the world, and all that. That still don't help me. I just can't get along with the things. Again, and you might say, well, bad design. To me, it's a bad design. The whole thing's, it's so proprietary. You know, at least back in the day, now I don't know right now, but they used to be so specific that with this computer, you had to have this printer, you had to have exactly this software, and this version of the software. It was just a pain in the patootie. I got turned off on Apple a long time ago. And even now, when I try to use Sue's phone or help her with her phone, because she's always having trouble, it drives me nuts, the design of Apple. It's just sorry. I know it offends most people because most people have Apple. But I don't like it even that much. Let's see. G&P Old Marine Shop. That's right. You did that in your videos. Yeah. Zoom is. Oh, I'm sorry. You're talking about the melting and the acetone. Yeah. I did all that. I haven't done it quite like the way you're making it sound there. I mean, I could see doing that though. I could see how it could work. Well, guys, I guess I'm going to let that be it. I don't want to offend anybody else. Anyway, if you would click the thumbs up, I'd appreciate it. I'll get back to you tomorrow. We'll have one more vlog tomorrow, and I'll let you know the fate of what's going on. And then, of course, Thursday and Friday, I'll be down in Mountain View, Arkansas, and the odds of me doing anything down there are slim to zero, but I might take that camera and maybe video this camera here. Whoops. This is that Insta360. This is not a GoPro. It looks like a GoPro, but it's an Insta360. And again, GoPro and me, they're kind of like me and Apple. We cannot get along. Not at all. GoPros suck canal water, in my opinion. This thing is designed like a machine should be designed. There you go. We will see you tomorrow, I hope. If I didn't really make you mad, we'll see you tomorrow. Take care.